Hi everyone, it's Daniel here for Design Break, and today I thought I would talk about something pretty close to heart, and that is the pitfalls of starting a design agency when you are a designer. So there's lots of reasons that people go into business. Some people, we call them entrepreneurs, go into business because they consider themselves to be adept at the things that make businesses work. So for example, securing finance, managing staff, networking, sales, all those kinds of things. So they start a business on their own because they consider themselves to be really good at these kinds of things and that they'll be able to build a business and get success from that. However, our reason, like I think a lot of designers and creative people, we started on our own because we wanted to have more creative freedom with the projects that we are doing. And also we wanted to build an income stream and build something for ourselves. So I think the pitfall here is that if all you wanted to do was be more creative, then you might soon find yourself struggling for cash, because running a business obviously involves a lot more than just doing the work, and you have to build sales pipeline, and there's a lot of the less fun, less creative tasks in there that go towards building a business. The reason for this is that entrepreneurs, especially those that consider themselves to be super ambitious and scrappy, they'll spend crazy hours from morning till late at night working on building their business. And that could be plans, prototypes, or if it's a software project, development, constantly working on building their business. And everything that they're doing in this time is propelling their business forward. Whereas when you're a designer, most of your work is client work. And that obviously builds your business because that's income that you get money from your clients for. But you're not actually building the business side. You're just doing project work. And that's building someone else's dream, really, which is the sort of trading time for money. So I say this is close to heart because this has been me for the last couple of years, which is that I've been working until the small hours of the morning on projects, and it's all client work because designers always want their work to be pixel perfect. And even if the time doesn't really allow, I've been working past the time that it allows to create projects that look really great for our portfolio. But it's not actually building our business. We are just producing work that's basically worth more than what we're charging effectively. And that practice is very counterproductive to growing a business, because the things that grow your business, your portfolio is a small part of it, but the things that grow your business are much bigger than just what's in the portfolio. So to avoid this, I think the best thing to do is to set up a timetable for your week. And this is where you would set aside time to do business development for the business, and then set aside time for doing project work. And you can divide that up, and then obviously actually sticking to it, and be really religious about sticking to it. So if a client wants to book a meeting during a period that you've booked out to do business development work, then you just say no to that time and just say you're busy. And that's something I think I only really realized the power of quite recently, which is that I would, if a client wanted to have a meeting, I would try and be as accommodating as possible. I would book it just whenever I had a slot. But now I'll strictly adhere to my portioned out time and just say, if I have time scheduled for business development stuff, I'll just say, no, unfortunately, I'm not free that day. And I'll schedule a meeting for another time. And guess what? Nobody minds, because everyone has busy calendars. So yeah, have a timetable and stick to it is the kind of solution, I guess, for that. Breaking down the percentage of how much time you should spend on the business development and how much you should spend on project work, that's a harder one to quantify. It's quite fluid for us at the moment. I guess it will be depending on how many projects you have. So it's a tough one. That's something you have to work out yourself. So the second thing is perfectionism. Designers are usually, or hopefully, if you've got a good one, the kind of people that have an eye for detail. And this definitely leads to perfectionism, and which can cause problems with the early projects. So when you're first starting out, projects might have smaller budgets and they won't allow for things to be perfect. So I experienced this again myself not that long ago, working on a project. and we had a limited budget for an illustration, and I just wanted everything to line up absolutely perfect. I mean, you zoom out to the level that you would see the illustration at and you wouldn't even notice it, but I knew that some of the lines weren't aligned perfectly to the grid, so I was in there fixing them all, and I was realizing that there wasn't the time and the money and the budget for this. So I just have to accept that nobody's really going to see this. We zoom out, it looks fine, and just you just have to accept that. And later on, if you have bigger projects with bigger budgets that allow for that level, then hey, knock yourself out. But at the early stages, I think perfectionism really can cause a lot of issues for designers who are running their own businesses. Something that I wouldn't include in that is creating a portfolio item. So if you're working on a project that you're going to create a portfolio item for, then you should allot a separate amount of time for polishing that project into a set of images that you can use in a portfolio. And that counts as business development time. That's not project time. So you can spend longer on that, on sort of polishing out the details just to make it perfect. And of course, if you end up with an outcome that the client can use as well, then you've got something there you can offer them potentially. So the final point is struggling with your own branding and messaging. And again, this is close to heart because it's something that we've been developing for so long, and it's just a continual evolution process that we've been going through with our brand and with our messaging, and not all of it even communicated on the website. For example, we've done a lot of side projects that have never actually gone live because we've been working on them and decided we want to maybe move in a different direction. So I think that this is something designers struggle with, because when we look at our clients, it's very easy for us to see from the outside looking in. We can see what the ethos of the company is, how it's structured, how it's working, those kinds of things. When it's our own business, it's really hard to see what elements we need to communicate and what it is that we are trying to pull out and communicate to our audience. I think that what we ended up doing, which is something I would recommend to everyone, is to sort of just do it, is just to put together something that you're happy with, put it out there, and then you can evolve it when you have time. But for the longest time, we were basically at the risk of not having a website at all, because we'd almost finished it, and then we decided, we think we should go in maybe a different direction with that. And if we had, we might still be here today with no website. So, because every time you get to the end, you think, it can be tweaked and it can be better. I think that's the sign of a great designer, is every time you finish something, you think you could make it better. And when you're working with a client, you have that end goal of you've finished the project, that's all they're paying you for. So even if you could make it better, that's kind of it, you've got that end point. Whereas with your own stuff, you could just keep going and going, and you could, put yourself into a frenzy trying to develop the perfect website, the perfect brand messaging. But, perfection doesn't exist, or so they say. So it's definitely a struggle that I think designers have. And it's one of those pitfalls, is trying to brand yourself and give yourself a message. Yeah, I think that, like I say, it's just a case of put something out there, and then you can evolve it later when you have the time. But creating something you're happy with and just putting it out there is the best way to start. I realize that's not super insightful advice there, but that's all I've got. So I hope you liked the video, and if you did like it, please hit like there, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from us. And that's everything for this week. We'll see you in the next one.